Okay, welcome back. This is Mark Stump, October 2013. I'd like to talk about FX versus DX. And first, very briefly, and I hope this will be very brief, I want to talk about the old film days. So here I have 4 shots from a 110 camera. I never owned the 110 camera. I believe my parents did. I know my grandmother did. I owned the 35mm. This is a little strip of film which has 2 shots of 35mm but holds 4. You can see there's some difference in size here. And would it surprise you very much if I told you that this offers better image quality? There's just more room on this for detail. Now in my 20s, I bought a view camera, 4x5 view camera. This is color negative film, and it's in a sleeve here. Oh, there it is. There's the actual photo. It's still, anyway, there's the actual photo. It's 4 inches by 5 inches. And again, would it surprise you very much if I told you that there's more image quality to be had on this large piece of film versus 35mm? In terms of area, this is about 15 times the area of the 35mm. Now at this point I'll pause and I'll insert some pictures I've drawn in order to show you what's most important in the digital age. Again, larger means, larger, this time it's a sensor, not a piece of film. But in the digital age, a larger sensor will generally mean higher image quality. So I'll show you this picture, and I'll talk about the difference between FX and DX in the digital age. Okay, this is one of our visual aids for today. Here we have a scale drawing representing APS-c, this area here, and then the full sheet represents full frame, the size of the old 35mm film. So that film was 24mm by 36mm, which is drawn here to scale as 6 inches by 9 inches. And on that scale where 4mm equals 1 inch, APS-c would be 4 inches by 6 inches. Now when I've drawn them this way, it's not apparent that full frame is actually 2 1/4 times the area. If I draw them this way, let me show you. If I turn the 4x6 around and draw it like this, 4x6, 4x6. Now here, same thing, full sheet is 6 inches by 9 inches. Full sheet represents full frame. And you can see APS-c fits in 2 1/4 times. So either way, we have the same story, which is simply that we have 2 sizes, APS-c and full frame, and the full frame is a bit larger. And now I can finally get to the crux of the matter. Okay, welcome back. So I told you about the old film days. I showed you some pictures of how FX compares to DX. Now this is Nikon's language, FX and DX. But other manufacturers also have full frame and less than full frame. And more importantly, there are lenses that are built just for the smaller formats. Now those lenses are cheaper, they tend to be smaller and lighter. Basically they're easier to engineer, and that gives rise to the size advantage, cost advantage, and weight advantage. So there is an advantage to having the camera with a smaller sensor, and that's that you can buy lenses that are generally cheaper, lighter, and less expensive. The advantage to the larger sensor cameras is image quality. You get higher image quality. So that's, of course, that's one thing you ought to understand. And beyond that, I would like you to understand this. You may start off with a DX camera, and you may want to upgrade to full frame someday. If you think there's a chance that you will upgrade to full frame someday, then you've got to think about which lenses to buy. Do you still want to buy the lenses meant just for the smaller sensor? Because the lenses meant for the full frame sensor will work on either. So here are some options you may have. You can start off with the full frame camera and lenses meant for a full frame. That'll be more expensive. Right now in the Nikon line, all of the full frame cameras are $2,000 or more, and all of the cameras under $2,000 are APS-c size sensor. I think that's true. So you could start off with just FX. You could start off with a DX camera and buy DX lenses and just stick with that for as long as you wish. You could start off with a DX camera, a relatively inexpensive camera, $500, $600, and then you could buy only FX lenses for it, so that if you ever upgrade your camera, you'll have all the lenses you need for a full frame. You could buy a crop frame camera and the crop frame lenses, and you could figure, if I ever change my mind, I'll just sell all this. I'll just sell this, or I'll give it away to one of my relatives, and whatever you do, of course, that's up to you. I just want you to understand. I just want you to understand that there's full frame, there are full frame cameras, there are less than full frame cameras, and then there are lenses which will work on either, and there are lenses which will only work on the smaller frame camera. So keep that in mind, think about it, try to plan ahead, and thank you for watching.